Tired of getting carded? Tired of failing that one juicy quest with 20-ish talisman rewards? Tired of wasting precious hunts because one mistake cost you everything? What if you could keep almost all the damage of a pure DPS build while stacking comfort skills and defenses that let you push through even the toughest 9-star fights? Today, I've got a template Gunlance build you might want to try out, built for survival, for comfort, and for winning hunts without feeling like you're walking on a tightrope. Whether it's multi-monster mayhem, single monster chaos, or just wanting a set that forgives those little mistakes, this build is made to get the job done. Before we jump into the details, a quick disclaimer: I didn't come up with this build myself. It was submitted to me by my mentor, and I'm pretty sure you've seen something similar before, though likely for a different weapon. I'm simply sharing this version for all the hunters out there who are having a hard time securing hunts consistently and reliably, especially when you're aiming for those valuable talisman rewards. Alright, let's get into the build. We'll cover the Gunlance itself in another part of the video, but for now, I'm working under the assumption that you only have access to the craftable talisman. For armor, we're running the Zoshia pieces for super recovery, the standard Raydao arms, Suja sash for the waist, Uthduna legs, and the defense charm. Mantle choice is personal preference, but if you want to maximize your survival and success rate, I recommend the Mending Mantle. Right off the bat, no, we're not running Lord Soul here. Since we're focusing on survivability, the defense drop from that skill can easily cart you when you least expect it. That's why the Suja sash is here, for Divine Blessing. In terms of skills, this set still covers your main damaging options: Challenger, Counterstrike, and 1 level of Burst. The rest of the slots are dedicated to utility and comfort skills like Evade Extender, Earplugs, Divine Blessing, Recovery Up, Quick Sheath, Defense Boost, and Recovery Speed. With maximum defense boost, you're sitting at around 500 plus defense, which is very solid. It allows you to take hits without much trouble, unless you're eating multiple attacks in quick succession. Overall, it's a blend of offensive staples, strong defensive options, and quality of life comfort skills. The exact mix that lets you push through high-pressure hunts without sacrificing much in terms of damage output. Let's talk about the weapon. I'm not using Ardian here simply because I know a lot of you won't have access to well-rolled Ardians yet. If you do have them, keep using them until you land some really strong talismans. Then you can look at making the switch. As you saw in the earlier build overview, I'm running the Rathian Hunting Horn. This is another tool in your kit that you can make great use of, especially when you're traveling to the monster or when it's leaving an area. That downtime is the perfect chance to play songs like Attack Up L and Recovery Speed L. And remember, equip Horn Maestro Level 2 to maximize your song buff duration. These songs will boost your health recovery, adding comfort and healing to your hunts, while also giving your damage a nice bump right before you detonate the monster. For even more sustain, eat an immunizer. Combined with Recovery Speed L, you're effectively getting Recovery Speed Level 3. That's recovery setup at its finest. Now, let's talk about alternative choices you can make to better counter specific 9-star monsters. By this point, day 3 into the new update, you've probably managed to get a decent talisman. If you have at least Load Shells level 2 or Artillery level 3 with a level 2 slot on your talisman, you can tweak this build for even better performance against specific 9-star hunts. By removing the Defense Charm, 2 level 1 defense boost decorations, and the adaptability decorations, you'll free up 3 level 1 slots and 1 extra level 3 slot, since one of your earplugs jewels can now move into the talisman slot. For the Gunlance weapon slot, it's straightforward. Depending on what's on your talisman, equip the other missing weapon decoration. Artillery if your talisman has load shells, or load shells if your talisman has artillery. The freed up level 3 weapon slot will almost always go to offensive guard, since it's one of the strongest skills for Gunlance. You could also opt for focus if you're running a charged shelling playstyle, but my recommendation is to stick with offensive guard. From there, depending on what's already built into your craftable Gunlance, you can push that skill to the max if the decoration combination is possible. In my case, I went with offensive guard and iron wall to max out level 3 guard. For the remaining level 1 slot, it's entirely dependent on the monster you're fighting. Right now, I think craftable Gunlances are more efficient in terms of slot usage, and the Lawful Bors is the clear king. It offers a powerful mix of defensive and offensive skills, with the flexibility to tailor your build to the exact 9-star monster you're facing. On top of that, it's currently the highest raw damage option outside of Paralysis, Fire, and Ice Artian, but since most players won't be dealing with Artian RNG, Lawful Bors is by far the best pick. This flexibility means you can equip monster-specific counter skills for a much higher success rate. But of course, if you don't want the hassle of creating 9 separate sets to counter each monster, you can just stick with the max defense option, though you might not be as comfortable as you would be with the monster countering sets. I'll put the recommended counter skills for each of the 9 9-star monsters on screen now. And that wraps up this build showcase. I hope you found it helpful, and I wish you the best of luck with your Talisman RNG. A special thanks to my mentor for coming up with this build. This video wouldn't have been possible without him. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your hunting squad. It really helps the channel grow and lets me keep making more guides like this. I've also included a full hunt using a max defense set against 9-star Steve. So if you want to see the build in action, stick around for that. Just a heads up, I'm a bit sloppy with the hunting horn gameplay, and I even forgot to buff while chasing Steve, since it's not a weapon I usually play. But it should still give you a good idea of how the setup works in a real hunt. I'm Marneus, the hunt never stops. See you in the next one.
I'll just hop off for now.